Today I'm going to make a stitch card. This is a design that I made. It's Norwich Cathedral. So basically it's a design I took from a photograph, a scene of the cathedral, stitched on a textured based card, placed on a quality card. With it, I put an insert inside so people can write their own messages in there. And on the back, I've just added the location and then my logo for Neen's cards, the website, and also the specific card number for this card. I do have others in this collection, the Cathedral at Night and a classic wherry boat on the boards, and I'm developing that collection further. Okay, so now I'm going to prick out the design. This is the board I use. I love this. It was only a few quid. I think I got it from Hobbycraft, but I guess they get it from any of local craft stores. It's quite thick. Let's measure it. Yeah, 2 centimeters thick. As you can see, lots of holes in it. I've used it a lot on both sides. Probably need to get a new one, but it's still okay at the moment. This is my design. It took me a few goes to get it how I wanted it. And so it's basically the template of the whole design. So if I get myself a piece of textured card, I think I got this from Paper Mill Direct. It's a bit expensive, but actually really good quality. So pop that down, pop my template over the top, and then I've got my little pricker, which will prick pretty fine holes in. I think that just got that from Amazon. So you have to keep your card flat and in the same place, don't move it around. Have to concentrate a bit here and not get distracted by anything else going on in the household. So just start with the ends. Be careful that if you use the same template multiple times, the holes will get bigger, and potentially you could end up with one hole close to the other that when you stitch it, it becomes one hole rather than two, which was the design, especially when you're doing a fiddly design when they're close together. So that's the greenery. And then for the roof, being very mindful that I choose the center of the holes and going up. These are close together, so I'm taking my time. Done those. Then I've got the front entrance, which again, they're close together. So that should be done. You can always check by holding it up to the light. Check that your holes are all the way through. There we are. So, got the holes that we pricked through in the card. I've got my green for the foliage, the bushes, etc. And then I've got the stone colour for the walls of the cathedral. I've also got my needle that I use. It's actually not a fine, it's a fine needle, but not a sharp point, so I don't tend to prick myself. And a little magnet just to hold the needle on, because I will lose it otherwise. Pair of scissors. I use this sort of washi tape which I got on Amazon just to help me secure the back when I'm doing the stitching. I'll show you what I mean in a bit. I'm keeping handy the actual template and the finished product, so that will guide me as I do the stitching. It doesn't really matter if I start with the green or with the cream colour. Just cut a length of the embroidery thread, and this comes in sort of 6 threads usually within it, so just a bit fiddly to separate. I tend to use 2 threads at a time, means it lasts longer, and it means it's not bulky when you're stitching fine designs like the cathedral is. Just takes a couple of minutes to unravel the 2 strands that I want. Put the rest aside, we'll need that in a bit. Find my needle and get that threaded. Okay, so if I start with the barn, hope you can see this okay. So going in at the top of the balm there, pulling it through, taking care to only pull through what I need and leave a tiny tail, and then get my little bit of tape just to hold that in place. There'll be lots of bits of tape at the end, leave them all, because that's what's holding your design in place. Then when I finally stitch the card to, when I finally glue the card onto the card base, I use some a really strong adhesive just to hold that all in place. Okay, so as for the design, we're going into this one down here and pulling that through, and then I'm going in so that I can do the straight part of the end of the, it's not a barn, is it? I think it's the cloisters actually. Okay, sorry about that, washing machine ended, so I'll just quickly put the trousers out. See, life is busy and it interrupts us. Okay, so we're still doing the cathedral itself, coming down to this one here, and then to get a straight line, that'll be the bottom one there, which is here, and up again. It's nice when it starts to take shape. Going across from the top. Now I want to go to here, and then we're going to go back to that original end piece to actually then come across to do the top here. Okay, we'll keep going, and then I'll show you the green part. So you can see I've got quite a way on, but run out of thread. So this bit we cut off. Sorry, my neighbour's doing his patio, so a bit of noise in the background, but I couldn't really ask him to not do that while I did my video in. Be a bit rude. Plus we had our patio done last year, so I'm sure we were noisy then. Okay, go back. You'll see I have a tail thread there. Just find a place with no sticky tape on it. Gonna put my next stitch in ready to go. The right way would help. And then get my tape and stick both down. It just reduces the amount of tape that ends up on the back of the card. Take that in there. Okay, so now we're back to the main entrance of the cathedral. So just following my pattern that I made. As I say, this is a fiddly one, so you just have to be gentle that you don't pull too hard to make a tear, so that two holes become one, which will ruin the design. It is mendable. You can put a bit of sticky underneath to separate them, stitch in a different direction, and especially if you're towards the end of your design, because you spent a lot of time stitching. Almost finished the turrets, spikes, whatever they are, on the top of this entrance bit, and come back under there, and I want to bring that down so it's reasonably straight. And then I've got the same going on here. Actually, got to attach that to the side of the building and come back in that hole again to come down to my greenery. Now I need to also put a wall in here. I think our cathedral's pretty much sorted. I'm quite pleased with that one today. Okay, we'll get ready for some greenery. Okay, got my green thread on. I'm going to start right over this way. And tape that bit in place. sorry, I always have to look this bit up. This is like a back stitch I use here. So you go in at 2, if that's 2, and you go out at 1. In at 3, out at 2. So in on the next one, and back on that one. Hence the back stitch going back on itself. I have to have it written down, I forget which is which. There's a stem stitch as well, but this is the one I decided on for the foliage in this picture. And all you're doing is working along each of the holes of design till you get to the end. Now this doesn't happen very often. Look, I've barely got any thread left, but just enough to go through. Thought I was going to have to start a new piece of thread there. Little wins. Okay, a bit of patience, a bit of time, but actually quite relaxing. And I've got my cathedral stitched. So now we need to add it to the card to finish off the card. Okay, so got my stitched design on the card. I've got my actual card and just a quality white card. I've used my eMark, which is a little handheld printer I have, to print on the back the location, Norwich Cathedral, and then I also have my logo on the same printer and the specific card number for this card. So what I need to do is to cut it to shape on my guillotine, is to stick that onto the card. Okay, I've got a ruler here which I found really useful, just a common garden type ruler. I think I might have got it from Hobbycraft or Amazon. I'm sure you can pick them up in most craft places. And because, as I said before, we've got a few bits of sticky tape on the back and we don't want the stitching to come undone, I have 2 ways of sticking these, my stitched cards on. One is that I use Easy Runner. You can use any form of double-sided sticky or just glue, whichever your preference is. These are quicker and easier, I found. So just do the edges with that. Trying to get as close as I can to the edge. Just a bit of thread there without not actually going over the edge. Just double check I haven't, because it's quite close there. And then some good adhesive glue. This is a Boss Stick all-purpose clear glue, and just dab a bit over on the design, especially where the thread is going in and out and ending. That just gives it a bit of strength where I need it to be. So because I've cut it to shape, I know it will fit, and I know there's only a little edge to line this up, so double check that. A little bit more of an edge, I think. It's just practice to get this straight, but I found this ruler really helps. So once I've got that edge correct, I can line it up so the side edges are the same as well. Make sure that's sticking on okay and no glue leaking out. It is an any occasion card, so I don't have any sentiments on the front. You know, if it was a birthday card or other sort of card, you know, I've got lots of sentiment bits I've made which you can always add on, but this particular design I just leave as a blank. Obviously if someone asked me to, I could add a sentiment on there for them. And then we just need to do the insert in this card just to make it a little bit special. I've got some textured sort of mottled effect paper, which just be gentle putting that in so it doesn't get creased. Using my Easy Runner, I tend to run one side and the other. Missed a bit on here, getting near the end of it, I think. And then just a little bit at the side to help hold it in place. Just make sure I've got right to the edge. Glue would probably work equally well, it's just personal choice. Don't want to get, it's always a bit tricky this one because the paper's so much thinner than card, and I know it's a very small edge around the outside can just measure that up. Yeah, that's fine. Make sure that's level. Measure my sides. And then gently add it on in one go so that it doesn't crinkle. It is mottled, so it will hide a few crinkles if you have any, but in this case we've done it okay. Check that it all folds up all right. And I've got the back and the envelope. Another card, good to go. So I'm really chuffed with that.